Hello everybody, welcome to That's Football. Chelsea are looking at a major double shock swoop for Mauricio Pochettino as their manager and Harry Kane as their new striker. I suppose actually when you think about it, only the fact that it's Chelsea makes it not as shocking as it might be. But what is the reality here and how likely is it going to be that Chelsea could pull this off? Only today we've heard from credible outlets that Manchester United are doing due diligence on Harry Kane. What is due diligence? That is background checks to see what the viability of a transfer actually is. Spurs are going nowhere fast and Harry Kane wants out. But how easy is it for a Premier League club to get Harry Kane out of Spurs? And could Chelsea be an option? You'd say no, but Chelsea are incredible at doing deals that people think aren't possible. And they could certainly drive up the price of Harry Kane. But let's hit the headlines here. Mauricio Pochettino, we spoke about him last week. He is nailed on at this moment to be Chelsea's next manager. Absolutely odds on. This is the guy that they're going to go for. This is the guy they want. And this is the job that Pochettino wants. And I feel that before we talk about the Kane offer and everything like that, I think before we do that, I feel I've got to be a little bit even-handed here because when initially hearing about Pochettino, I did the video last week and explained why I think it's a bad move for Chelsea. But ultimately, Chelsea fans, some of them agreed, some of them got quite, had an opposing opinion. The reality is I'm actually being quite complimentary of Chelsea because I just do not think Pochettino fits what I know Chelsea to be over the last decade or so. I think Chelsea are about winning Premier League titles because that's what they've done. I think they are about competing for the Champions League because that's what they've done. You're basically giving Pochettino the job, and all he's done that gets close to what those aims are is take Spurs to a Champions League final, and that was many years ago. He's not a title winner. So ultimately, the reason I think Pochettino is a bad choice for Chelsea is that I think it's a huge stretch of the imagination. I think it's a huge risk, and you're asking him to do something that he never looked capable of doing when he was at his best at Spurs. And people will say, well, Spurs and Chelsea are very different. Are they? I think the Premier League's very different now. You've got super wealth at Newcastle, super wealth at Man City, potentially coming in at Man United. You've got Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool. You've got Arteta at Arsenal. There's 5 decent teams there. Chelsea with money and not the right manager, I don't think they can compete against all 5 and beat them. There might be a couple in league position, but not all of them anymore. I think if you want to win a Premier League title these days, you've got to be posting 95 points and hoping City don't. That's how high the bar is. And I don't think Pochettino's shown any hint of being a manager that can do that. And therefore, it surprises me that Chelsea would go for Pochettino because I just don't think he fits with what Chelsea's ambition was. However, they've got a new owner now. I also think as well that, and look, I'm not comparing Potter to Pochettino in any shape or form, but we've already seen the problems of bringing a manager in that a fan base isn't 100% certain on. And I don't know what Chelsea fans feel towards Pochettino, but I hope that they're 100% behind him because I don't think ultimately it will last very long because I think that the cracks will show very, very quickly. Look, Thiago Silva's not going to keep playing for ages. Kante's not going to keep playing for ages. That team's going through transition, and I don't really know where the transition is. I don't really see the leaders of tomorrow beyond someone like Reece James. I don't. So they're going to have to buy it again. So look, but who is the alternative for Chelsea? I think that's always the thing. Who would you go for? Get in the comments. Who do you think Chelsea should be going for? Because people will say Zidane. They'll say Luis Enrique. Is there any guarantee that they'd work in the Premier League? Also, do they even want the job? Nagelsmann didn't want the job and seems to prefer Spurs, which seems crazy when you look at the situation. So look, maybe Chelsea are going for the best they can get, but it just does feel like, and this has got nothing to do with Pochettino, it just feels like that Chelsea, under this new ownership, are a different Chelsea to what they were under a previous ownership. And I think, they were ruthless, but 9 times out of 10, it was the right decision for Chelsea. I think now they spend the money, but you don't really have any confidence in the people making the decisions. And this is a big call that Chelsea sort of need to get right because there's so much resting on this. So, look, Pochettino is going to be the next manager. Will he go for Harry Kane? Of course he wants Harry Kane. Chelsea need a striker. Pochettino with Kane at Chelsea would actually be something that I would go, that's interesting. Because The relationship between those two is very good. They know how each other work. Premier League proven in the case of Harry Kane. Harry Kane at Chelsea with Mauricio Pochettino would make even me go, you know what? That's stronger, because they're going to need a striker, and Harry Kane would work in that system. Of course he would. The chances of this happening seem remote, but rumours and murmurs are going around this Pochettino appointment and Harry Kane. Chelsea will want to keep it under wraps, of course they will, but the fact is, if Man United get close to Kane, then Chelsea will try and get him. That's the story that's going around at the moment, because Pochettino loves Harry Kane. Harry Kane has played under Pochettino, and Chelsea, London, it might all work. I'm not saying that Kane wouldn't go, no, I don't want to go to Chelsea. I want to go to Man United because they're in the Champions League, and I think that would be a big thing. But Chelsea, I think, will certainly look at this with Pochettino and go, well, look, we need a striker. He's the striker that we want. We want to win things, and we think we can do it if we bring Harry Kane in with Pochettino and everything we've got at Chelsea. How Chelsea fans would feel about that, and if anybody's listening, get into the comments. How everybody else would feel about that, well, I can comment on that. I think Chelsea and Harry Kane and Mauricio Pochettino, he should be their number one target, because they need a goal scorer, and they need a Premier League goal scorer, and they need a player that knows how to play under the manager that you're going to bring in. And Harry Kane ticks all those boxes. Would Spurs sell to Chelsea? Well, logically, no, they wouldn't. But do they want to sell to Manchester United? I don't really see what the difference is. Apparently, Daniel Levy would rather sell abroad and would sell cheaper abroad. Apparently, £80 million to a Bayern Munich, but £100 million to a Manchester United. This will be an interesting one. If Pochettino gets the job, they'll pick up the phone and they'll see if they can do the deal. Maybe Harry Kane says, I'm not interested, I just want to go Manchester United. Maybe Chelsea go, we're just never going to sell a player to you. But it's not like selling a player to Arsenal. And Arsenal have sold players to Spurs in the past and vice versa. So it can happen. And Spurs ultimately do need to end the Harry Kane, you could say, trauma. But that relationship needs to end. Unless Harry Kane is absolutely dead set on trying another manager and another project at Spurs, of which I think he's done enough. I think Harry Kane leaves, and I think he wants to go to a Premier League club. And the most logical one is Manchester United. But nobody wants to be messing around on the Harry Kane deal all summer. Chelsea could offer an alternative that makes it very interesting. And actually, if I was in charge of Spurs and Harry Kane and Chelsea rung me up and said, we really want Harry Kane, name your price, and then I've got United who are crap at negotiating, it could work really, really well. Of course, the interesting situation is, what if Man United don't sign Harry Kane? What if Man United decide we don't want to spend that much money on him and they go and buy another striker, but Harry Kane still wants to leave and stay in the Premier League? It could represent an opportunity. Look, as I said at the start, I don't think anything is beyond the realms of possibility when it comes to Chelsea in the transfer market. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing, because we've seen that Chelsea can just go for players all over the place. But Harry Kane and Pochettino at Chelsea, I think, would be a very interesting thing. What do I think that Pochettino's success can be at Chelsea? I think you're going to be a club that can get top four. I don't think he's going to be a manager that can challenge for titles. And I think that's not a hot take. I'm not going to claim a hot take on that. I don't think anybody should. I think Pochettino will get Chelsea consistently in the top four. The problem with that is, at what point do you go, you've hit your ceiling, we want better than that? Or do you just end up being that? Chelsea, as I say, have always been a club that can compete for titles. I'm not so sure Pochettino can do it. And if he's going to do it, you've got to give him the sort of backing that is a Harry Kane or whatever he wants, because you can't be buying for him, as we saw with Tuchel and Potter. Get your comments in below. Smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Very interested to read the comments on this one.